with the crown jewels. I'm not sure if you're asking if I'm Scottish. I'm not Scottish, and I promise I'm not Scottish. So we're going to start on the corner. This is the Chapel Royal of St Peter and Vincula. I can't go any closer. This part is restricted and protected for obvious reasons. You know, it's utterly pristine. You wouldn't even think it was real. You would think this is some sort of historic model village because it's so utterly perfect. And notice we have the guard patrolling. I'm not sure if you guys can quite make it out. I'm sorry for the sunshine, everybody.
No photo inside, please.
No photos at all?
At all, sir.
Understood.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I will go the other way.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Okay, so you heard it, folks. There we are. And even if I had made it in fact, and we're filming, then obviously, I'm sure somebody would have come up to me and said, "Hold it, switch it off." It's a great spot for a picture, isn't it?
Nobody's been standing there waiting for you.
I wonder if his face had gotten stuck for a moment. Extraordinary. You know, we're talking many hundreds of years before even the Enlightenment and the Renaissance. A 3/4 armour we have here. It's not entirely sure, but it says potentially for Edward VI, who was still a boy. It might look large, but it's boy-sized armour.
Two! After me! Extremely handsome! And three! You have to be at least 6 foot tall!
Yeah, those stairs, good lord. If on a wet day, for example, people walking up and down or inside with wet shoes, that would be an absolute trap and a half. Good lord. Just think about that experience. You know, you've done something naughty, you've been caught, whether it's something relatively minor or indeed a little bit more serious, treason, etc. Imagine what it would have felt like to be on a boat coming along the Thames. All you can see is, you know, just dirt, mud, wooden houses and shacks everywhere. Smoke billowing out of the chimneys. Well, to anyone that's joining, welcome if you're watching this on YouTube. We're at the Tower of London. London City Walks is visiting the Tower of London today. So we're going to have a wander around in the glorious sunshine. And let's see what we can find. 950 years of history right here. 1046, I believe, the tower was originally constructed. Extraordinary to think about it. Let's go through. Morning, Roshane. Hey, yeah, it's a kind of semi-historical tour, I guess, in some respects. I'm no historical tour guide, but that said, you all know how much I like these unusual spots. So let's see, in fact, everybody, how it goes today. Luckily, inside there are lots of great views without getting blinded by the sunlight. I'm not quite sure about individual tickets. I kind of had Byward Tower, everyone, 12.80. I've got a membership for Royal Historic Palaces, so it just means you can go in. It's like an annual membership. But individual tickets, I'm not sure. Maybe £20-30. Here we are, the same view that would have greeted people walking into the bell tower, toward the bell tower, more than 900 years ago. It's an extraordinary thing to think about, isn't it? You know, we are literally standing on medieval streets. The whole thing is just, yeah, executive kid, you can't get tired of this. Utterly extraordinary. And the arrow slips, the condition as well of the arrow slips. Some pigeons decided to move in, as you can see up there, and make their homes in the arrow slips. People examining the bins. I'm not realising it's a grit bin for when it snows. It is, yeah, Adam, we just arrived. We literally just came through the main archway that enters here into the Tower of London. These little houses right now, casemates they're called, these little properties along here are where the Beefeaters occasionally spend their time and stay. There's a sort of Beefeaters, this sort of canteen, should we say, etc. along here, but we haven't yet gone properly in. This is still the tourist entrance, effectively. It says here, doctor's surgery on the wall. I'm not sure if there's still a doctor here. So this, behind us, is the main entrance that I just came through. Hey, good morning, Rishi. Thanks for joining. Yeah, an extraordinary thing to to see it in this light. It's only the second time this year I've come out and it's been an exceptionally warm morning. It's not just bright, it's warm. And that's the key distinction. We get plenty of sunshine early here, but warmth, it's getting rare this time of the year here. Okay, I'm not going to focus on the shop to my right because you'll know what's in there. We are going to occasionally come across a lot of noise because the Beefeaters give regular tours. One is going on at the moment, and they're very loud and very animated, considering that the majority of them are ex-military men, and they need to be heard in a very large crowd. So occasionally I will go quiet at random, just because of the fact that I'm being respectful and not wanting to chit chat when there's a tour going on with one of the Beefeaters. It's utterly extraordinary. I'm going to be very careful about where I walk as well. Some of the archways and doors are very, very, very low, and I just know that if I don't hit my head, I'll certainly break something. I noticed, in fact, entry to settlements, ordinarily only 2 or 4 people at a time are going up. Hey Joe, I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it for you in advance. My apologies.
Children from the Richard Duke of York, aged 12 and 9, respectively, who were allegedly smothered to death whilst living in the bloody tower, protecting their uncle, Richard Ross, who, through no fault of his own and sheer coincidence, after the boy's disappearance, he became King Richard III, later moved around the car park attendant. Their bodies were put downstairs next to the tower and buried in the stone. So they moved by a priest, buried in a secret block on the south side, right down there. They remained for 191 years. 1674, the Great Charles II, and Romans in the chest. Ripping open the chest, they found gold and silver. All they found was skeletal remains.
I like the sort of shady tunnel parts more because then it really emphasises the brightness of the weather and the sky outside. When we're standing here looking out, everything explodes, those colours in the distance. AZ Media, I'll give you one warning: any more advertising, you'll be gone permanently. No advertising in this channel on these lives. Thank you very much. And here we have everyone, right on the corner there. The infamous ravens that guard the tower. Right here. See the enormous black raven on the top of the wall? Extraordinary. Right there as the wall ends in the tower. The tower itself is just sitting there. Glorious. It is, it's absolutely flawless, especially on a day like today with this weather. That's the Beefeater. Typically very animated. This is the bloody tower, everybody. Date 12/25. I'm not sure whether they're crows. I thought they were ravens. Are they ravens or crows? For some reason I had in my mind they were ravens. But there was indeed, on the top of the wall, perched here, what I assume was a raven. It might indeed be a crow. Yeah, the crowds are utterly enormous, so I'm sort of being careful. I'm trying to either get in front of them and then wait for them to move, or stay firmly behind them. Ravens, that's it. Thank you very much, Colleen. Much appreciated. I thought it was ravens, yeah. So let's do that, actually. Let's make sure that in an ideal world, the major crowds are either in front of me or behind me. So again, yeah, the bloody tower, 12/25, folks. One of the newer buildings, newer parts of the Tower of London. That was built 200 years after the main tower itself. Sort of medieval paradise. I'm going to go up onto the battlement. Actually, wait, let's have a quick, while we're here, there's so much actually, I know I'm going to walk past it. The infamous Traitor's Gate right here, where those that were imprisoned in the tower were brought in, marched up the steps here to their fate. Extraordinary thing to think about. Imagine how terrified you would have been being brought up these steps, having been taken along the river and either forcibly marched or shackled and taken through the gate here. Terrifying to think about it, especially in those conditions. Freezing morning, freezing evening, being marched through the gate, knowing that that was pretty much it. Extraordinary to think about, utterly extraordinary. British history, as we all know, is somewhat grim in many respects, but fascinating nonetheless. I'm glad, thank you. I'm glad to be unusual. Plus, it's important to me. I wouldn't like it if everyone was calling me Johan, for example, or something. You know, I get it, 100%. Okay, so entry to Battlements. Let's see if there's enough space up there for me plus tripod and a few other people. Let's just have a quick look at the Battlements. That was Trader's Gate. Oh, we'll have another very, very, very good look at Trader's Gate in a moment as we go past. I couldn't avoid pointing the camera at it. It's literally the most infamous part of the entire Tower of London, as I'm sure many of you know.
Kings and queens didn't stay at the Tower of London for long, as the royal court travelled round the country. However, castles were important symbols of royal power and wealth. William the Conqueror strategically sited the White Tower to dominate the city and control the river. Edward and his father Henry spent a lot of money adding to and improving the fortress. Henry strengthened the tower, adding an outer stone wall, reinforced by 11 new towers, including the Wakefield Tower and Lambkin Tower. He also had a great deal of kitchens and stables. He and his family stayed in rooms along the riverside.
Notice, everybody, they still have the original lime and mortar on the walls. Utterly extraordinary.
You are in St. Thomas's Tower, built over 700 years ago for the warrior king Edward I. Much of the Tower of London's appearance today
This is one of the smallest rooms here in the corner, everyone. It's absolutely microscopic, look. It's teeny tiny. Just enough room for a few people.
You might even bump into one of his royal residents.
It's just under one of the corner turrets.
Let us introduce you to their stories. Edward and his father Henry were descendants of William the Conqueror, the Norman Duke who invaded England in 1066. Edward and Henry were two powerful men, but two very different rulers. Henry was just 9 years old when he became king. He inherited a kingdom in
A little
crisis.
claustrophobic, that room, everyone. Just a little bit. Plus my head was almost hitting. Even this one, I'm going to hit my head if I don't duck. Good heavens. Sorry, it's a little quiet in there because it's very, very somber. The atmosphere is very somber. You know, the history just hits you the second you go through the door. Good Lord, the bed. And the contrast, with we have HMS Belfast and the Shard in the background. It's utterly mind-boggling how quiet and somber it is the moment you go through that door. quite humbling actually, I must say. Let's take another peek at Traitor's Gate, everybody. The utterly extraordinary Traitor's Gate, the most ominous part of the entire Tower of London by far. The fact that the gates are still intact as well. 945 years old and still standing. Extraordinary. Welcome everybody, we're at the Tower of London. We've literally only started. The entrance into the tower here is just back there. So we've only been in here for under 10 minutes. So we're very much at the beginning. The Crown Jewels and Chapel Royal are through here. I'm going to go that way afterward. I'm going to try and walk through the outer courtyard of the tower, first of all. Certainly before it gets absolutely ridiculously busy, as it will. It's quite busy already, even though it doesn't look it here. But it's going to get packed later because the weather's so fine today. I'm also going to be careful because I'm thinking that if I go into certain places, especially the sub-trading areas, then we might well lose the live. So I'm going to be super picky about what I show you and where I go, because there's no point in me trying to live it all if we're going to get cut off and the live is going to get lost. 945, yeah, 945 years. 1046, I believe, was the original date of the construction of the tower itself. Exit, everybody. We are inside the walls. Yeah, there are several different layers, as it were, here, as was the case with medieval construction for defence purposes. So we're at the moment walking along the outer layer. We will then go and work our way slowly inward, and obviously have a look at the Jewel Tower and everything else. Welcome if you're joining from Thailand. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. It's a super nice day here in London. Lanthorn Tower, 1220. The whole area is extraordinary, especially the arrow slips everywhere. They're in magnificent condition. One of the newer buildings, Cradle Tower, 1348. It's funny saying that, actually. A newer building, only in inverted commas 700 years old. Queen Elizabeth II Arch. Yeah, to go into any of the inner part of the tower, including where I've just been and where I'm going to go, yes, it's all chargeable. There is, alas, no free access here at the Tower of London. Hard, tough choices, hey Nicole, tough choices. Friends or family. Hey, welcome Robbie. Willkommen joining from Germany. The way that the newer buildings, you know, we have the walkie-talkie there, towering over. It's just, they just fit, it just works. You know, much like the Shard, it's an extraordinary sight to see these modern buildings, glass and steel structures, in such close proximity to the buildings here at the tower. 900 years worth, yet it works. It just works. Welcome, if you're joining from the Philippines. Good morning from London. So good to get here early and beat the massive queue, actually. Huge relief. This gives us this corner. A lot of people miss this actually because it's a dead end. But this corner gives a super view. 1 second. Not only can we see the ravens, everyone. A lot of people miss the ravens that are here. Look. They are absolutely enormous. Oh, oi. They're coming to say hello, everyone. Look. Morning, Sarah Jane. Welcome for joining from Cambridge. The noise that the ravens make is frankly quite terrifying, to be honest. That's why I was so surprised to see a couple of the ravens on the top of the wall when we first came in. I thought that most of the time the ravens were were safely within the cage area. Little information, everyone, about the ravens, in fact. They do. It was an extraordinary thing to see some of them actually outside on the battlements when I came in. Never seen that before. I mean, typically they are either very high or here in the cages. Which is, well, I mean, if it sort of landed next to me, I would be utterly terrified. The noise there, folks, is just ominous. you think it's a nice noise? Okay. How's that for a fine day for the Union Jack to be flying at full mast?
We're going to get the buggy now, kids. Let's go have lunch. Should we go have lunch?
Yeah. That supposedly is indeed the myth. I mean, it might not be a myth, we don't know. But yeah, if the ravens depart, it's all over. Let's hope they don't depart. Don't worry, they're not there permanently. They are let out. They don't spend their entire life in the cages. Yeah, it's I hope it really came across for Shane. The noise, yeah, it's very ominous. It's a little bit like, okay, guys. I would not disagree with the ravens, no matter what they're trying to say. Hi, welcome, Aisha. They are ravens. And a lot of people, in fact, think that they're crows. They are actually ravens. Not a lot of difference, but indeed, the king's ravens officially, and unofficial guardians of the Tower of London and the jewels. One thing I do like about the Tower of London, actually, certainly compared to Buckingham Palace, is that you can sense the history here much more, and as such, I wouldn't quite go as far as saying it's a sombre environment, but people are massively respectful of the fact that they are walking, literally walking, walking history. It's right here, and it really hits you much more, obviously, because of the medieval battlements and so on, than anything at Buckingham Palace. This is the old hospital, this side. The architecture is just spectacular. Thank you, Convict. It was good to see you yesterday evening in Giorgio's live. Wow, that was a little crazy. A lot of fun though, in fact. The noises behind us are just somebody wheeling a cart. We're going to get much closer to the historical area. I'm still not 100% certain actually what they will say vis-a-vis entry into the Jewel Tower with Alive, so I'm going to have to sort of venture and see what happens fundamentally. But if I do for any reason abruptly end it, it would have been simply because I've been told to do so. It really depends on who's on duty and how fussy they are. These things are not set in stone either way here at the Tower of London. Also, there are sort of different levels of access, shall we say. Let me go up here for a moment, where it's a bit quiet. So there's sort of, you know, a standard ticket, as it were, but then there are also other options, ticket-wise, that will grant you, for example, access to, excuse me, the Jewel Tower or other parts of the Tower of London. It's quite a peculiar, yeah, very peculiar ticketing system they have here. The base ticket, I think, is somewhere between £20 and £30, but there are sort of add-ons available. I'm going to walk up and show everyone the view from the top of the battlements, then we'll descend back into the inner courtyards, see if we can have a bit of a follow of the Beefeaters as they're talking. The Beefeater tours are incredibly popular for obvious reasons. Thank you. This is the approach to Tower Bridge. On an absolutely perfect day. Look, there's not a cloud in the sky. It really is glorious. With very faint outlines of white clouds in the distance. It's very, 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 very nice this morning. I'm going to try again not to blind you all, being very mindful. And the most extraordinary view of all, actually, despite the architecture within the walls of the Tower of London, the most spectacular view of all is that one. You know, I mean, having all of that overlooking, you know, these 900-year-old battlements is just, what can you say? You know, it's extraordinary, isn't it, if you think about it? The tower that I'm about to walk through, Martin Tower, date is 1240. I'm thinking it's been here for a good 700 years before much of that city that we're seeing over there even existed, before they even broke ground. And also here, looking back toward the Jewel Tower, there's another jewel above. Look at the shard peeking out between the spires of the Jewel Tower. Extraordinary thing. We're at the Tower of London, everybody. I'm going to go in and hope and pray that the reception holds up, everybody. It's also incredibly narrow in here. As you can all see. So narrow. I mean, I was literally sort of, oh my goodness, trying desperately not to fall down the stairs. Good heavens. We're going to walk through the other outer tower here, and then shortly we're going to go back down to the main courtyard. I'm going to try not to get stuck in the battlements, but truth be told, I don't know it intimately enough to know exactly where I'm going, so I'm sort of following the line, as it were. Let's see where we end up, everyone. It's looking directly back toward Tower Hill. Yeah, there's no free access regrettably here at the Tower of London. So it's either ticket by ticket, paid ticket, or free for people that hold historic royal palaces membership. That gives access to 5 palaces. I'm going to descend a little tiny bit into this one. Again, hoping the reception is okay. Yeah, these noises are making me jump. Let's go. This historical information room is stopping points effectively. To emergency that is just, hold on, like, wow. The skies today. Doesn't look real, does it, folks? I mean, this actually doesn't look real. You'd almost think that it was a picture that I'm holding off the phone as opposed to actual live. It's glorious. The buildings have been here for an awfully long time, since the 11th century. Some of them are a little later, 12th, 13th century. To be honest, I find the tower to be much overlooked. It's obviously a little bit of a trek, depending on which part of London you live in. For anyone living in west or south, it is a bit of a trek, but it's very much worth it because it's utterly extraordinary. Again, this is where we first came in. This is where the Beefeaters and the guards actually live, in these premises along the edge of the tower here. This is the northern edge of the tower. Still a table and chairs outside for a little bit of alfresco dining when the spring finally arrives. I'm sure it's coming soon. Walkie-talkie there. Next exhibition. I'm going through the exhibitions quickly because it's not the main reason I'm here. I'm here for the architecture and the atmosphere. And this is just the tower in the First World War. Interesting fact, I didn't actually know that. I had no idea people were still being executed here in the 20th century. Incredible. First executions within the walls of the tower since 1747. Treason, First World War, I guess that's as good a reason as any. Walking on these medieval battlements and being able to see the city on one side and the Shard on the other. Wow. We also have the Beefeaters are there. We're going to have a much closer look at the Beefeaters and what they have to say when we go down back to ground level. Also, we've got Tower Bridge. I'm actively avoiding too much on the left here because of the sunshine. It's very, very bright. We sort of end up in these little courtyards, which you can see are obviously sometime occupied because somebody is taking care of the plants and so on. I have no idea in total how many people work here looking after and maintaining the tower. Obviously, there's a whole army of staff that are supporting the Beefeaters. But I would imagine that the number is probably well in excess of a couple of hundred. Here we have an elusive Beefeater having his picture happily taken with some tourists. Looking somewhat dejected. Splendid uniforms. Thoroughly splendid. What can I say? Especially in this weather. Glorious. I'm recording for myself and to put it on YouTube because it looks wonderful. You're welcome to have a look.
No. We just, obviously with security reasons, we're just very conscious of.
No, these days,
not
yeah.
nefarious reasons. That's absolutely.
Oh no, don't worry. I'm not sort of observing for logistical or. I'm not plotting to overthrow the tower.
Nor would I think you were. We
I
just
know.
have to.
No, I understand. No, I mean I have a YouTube channel and.
Oh, do you?
Second, just to show you actually, because anyone can say they're anyone. I am. Where's he
So
gone?
when your wife says, I don't like moustache, she said, well, the Yeoman warder 20 years ago told me I'm not to grow one.
That's me.
Oh well, amazing.
So you take
I'll have to look you up.
So
mate.
it's everything. Buckingham Palace, all of everything that happens in London is pretty much on here. So yeah,
Fabulous.
that sort of hopefully sort of proves my credentials a little bit.
No, well, no. We just need to check.
No, I
Thanks so
respect and
much.
understood, but your uniforms is just utterly extraordinary. Especially his voice as well. I was listening to him at the beginning, but his voice is very former army. I'm getting very loud voice.
We're all ex-military.
I would have assumed so. Yeah, maybe a former sergeant major. That voice was that was parade ground
So you've
worthy.
just the three criteria to be here is to be 22 years in the military,
22 years.
be a sergeant major or warrant officer, and
Wow.
have a long service good conduct medal. So we've all been trained to shout.
Okay, that's a useful thing when you have a lot of tourists that perhaps don't quite listen to instructions, shall we say?
It's a useful tool that we all have. There we go. No, pleasure to meet you, sir.
You too. Thank
Okay,
you very much,
take
my
care
good man.
now.
Thank you so much. Okay, so you heard that, everybody. Absolutely lovely, friendly there. Obviously, he wanted to confirm that I was not filming for nefarious purposes. 22 years in the military, everybody. 22 years. And considering that I was and I am so close to serving soldiers right now, of course, he was being very careful of why I was filming what I'm filming for. He might well be watching. I mean, I don't know. He might well be watching. Glorious. And it's surprising here actually because, as you can see, we have a low-lying fence. Sorry everybody. A low-lying fence, which means that tourists can get incredibly close. There is a fence, but it's only a matter of 1.5 meters or so between the fence and the guard box. Splendid uniform. Wonderful. We are going to try everybody and have a very good look, but again, I'm not sure. It depends on the on the sort of response we get at the door. We might not be able to film. Let's see. If we can't film the crown jewels, it will be an awful pity. But there's so much more here to see anyway. And notice how freely the soldiers here mix with the public. Mix and talk with members of the public and tourists. They're happy to have their pictures taken and so on. This is something that you don't see anywhere else in London. You never ever see this at Buckingham Palace, for example. Yet here at the Tower of London, here we have it. What an extraordinary sight. Military is not really a thing that features particularly in British society, I would say, certainly compared to a lot of countries. This is not a militaristic country at all, actually. So it is quite an extraordinary thing. I haven't forgot about the crown jewels. I'm just going to go around the quadrant here, and then we will chance our luck a little teeny weeny bit with the crown jewels. I'm not sure if you're asking if I'm Scottish. I'm not Scottish, and I promise I'm not Scottish. So we're going to start on the corner. This is the Chapel Royal of St Peter and Vincula. Sunday services this morning. Isn't it beautiful? Look. How green is the grass on a day like today? And these buildings over here, many preceding even the Tudor period, extraordinary. Sombrero. I need it to keep my head out of the sunshine. Thank you, Melissa. Never seen that before. Okay. This is personally one of my favourite parts. One second, let's have a little walk around, and we can walk literally super close to the troops, which is an extraordinary thing. Drinking fountains also that they have here are usable. Freshwater drinking fountains for the public. Very useful on a hot summer's day. We're getting tour groups in every single language you can conceivably think of.
Lo que ha quedado es poca cosa, con lo cual lo que queda cuando hacen el retrato es esto que hemos aquí. Este sería el duque de Monmouth dormido, bueno, muerto en este caso, que es claro, una cabeza y tapado con una manta, pues lo que había ahí abajo. Imaginaos las cabezas.
Beecham Tower, this one. I'm very reluctant to go into any that I need to descend, because there is a very strong possibility if I'm going down to subterranean levels that we're going to lose the reception. But we will see. I can't go any closer. This part is restricted and protected for obvious reasons. You know, it's utterly pristine. You wouldn't even think it was real. You would think this is some sort of historic model village, because it's so utterly perfect. And notice we have the guard patrolling. I'm not sure if you guys can quite make it out. I'm sorry for the sunshine, everybody. It's not Windsor, no. We're at the Tower of London today. So the two biggies, the Jewel Tower and the Crown Jewels, will come up shortly. Again, hoping beyond hope that all is good and they're happy for me to go in. It might only be pictures, but we'll see. This guard marching up and down constantly, extraordinary thing. It's also a great view from this point of Tower Bridge, but again we're having trouble a teeny weeny bit because we've still got that sunlight poking out, blinding the camera somewhat. Let's see, I think we're going to... No, we're not quite going to get him walking toward us. And again the shard popping out. I have the Beefeater here. I haven't yet seen this fellow. That's as close as I can go, everybody. Again, we have changed. It's a restricted area. But good heavens, wow, what a sight. Doesn't he look magnificent in the uniform? And this is also continual here. I don't know how long he's on duty for, but back forwards with those very heavy steel tipped boots. It's not easy work. He's not protecting anything, it's simply symbolic. You know, he's guarding what has always been guarded, a certain part of the tower. I haven't seen anyone in particular, but I'm not looking for anyone. I'm here for you guys, not for meeting other people. Magnificent. The discipline, to be doing that, repeating it continually. It's a good question. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know what these buildings are for. I don't know what they originally used for. I don't know what they're used for now. They could simply, at the moment, be used for accommodation for the soldiers. I honestly don't know. You know, I'm no sort of tour guide in the sense of knowing every historical detail about the places we visit. For me, it's more about just admiring the architecture and these glorious, spectacular sights. You know, we could quite literally be in Shakespeare country right now. This is just like being in Stratford-upon-Avon, but in the centre of London. And now he's rigid, completely. Putting the majority of his weight onto the heels at the back must still be very difficult. I couldn't imagine in the summer. Luckily, actually, on a very warm day, he would be somewhat shaded. But in the afternoons, the sun coming from here, ooh, not easy at all. Again, I'm not going to go up because I'm going to go back into the centre and see if we can get into the Jewel Tower. But afterwards, I'll perhaps walk up here. Raleigh's Walk goes to the northern innermost battlement. Okay, let's chance our luck, folks, and see what transpires when we attempt to go into the Jewel Tower. It's massively a 50-50. Let's see. glorious golden clock is there above the entrance. Sorry, crown jewels first, and then we'll have a look in the jewel tower afterward. I'm sure that one will be fine. It might reject us from both. Thank you, AJ, most kind. Okay, coming up, everyone. I know that photography is fine, videography, let's see. I don't actually ever remember seeing anyone filming the crown jewels, certainly on the live, so let's see. If they do tell me not to, I will of course willingly oblige. Hello.
No photo inside, please.
No photos at all?
At all, sir.
Understood.
Thank you, sir.
I will go the other way.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Okay, so you heard it, folks. There we are. And even if I had made it in fact, and we're filming, then obviously, I'm sure somebody would have come up to me and said, "Holly, switch it off." So it is understandable. Yeah, no, not even photographs, everybody, let alone filming. I don't know if it's going to be the same in the jewel tower, but we're going to find out. Let's go around to the jewel tower and see. I think I got the closest to entering the crown jewels. But again, obviously any image is under royal copyright, so it's not surprising they only permit official photographers to go in. That would have been an extraordinary thing, wouldn't it? That said, I would have felt massively guilty actually, even if they had agreed. I have both. I have a camera and I also have a camera and also a phone that is functioning as the camera for this live. So I have two cameras, one for YouTube and one for the live. And obviously it's very clear. I didn't even try to disguise it. I wanted him to notice that I had the cameras. Yeah, massively worth a try. But again, it's the same with trying to walk into Buckingham Palace when they open the staterooms during the summer. Even if I had gotten in, I would have probably got in an awful lot of trouble, and I dare say perhaps even been questioned officially. I don't know, but I would guess that certain aspects of the displays here are probably under the Official Secrets Act. So me marching in and trying to be a bit cheeky. Again, I have no idea what. Let's see if they say anything here. The White Tower. 1 second. If it says anything at all on the board, because I don't want to look like a fool. 1 second. See if it mentions anything at all about photography, filming. It doesn't, but let's see. Again, we have, I think it's a Yeoman warder at the top there, looking at everybody going in. So I'm actually going to ask him as opposed to just trying to walk in. I will be much surprised if. Yeah, exactly. It's true. Me mocking the guy that tried to just stroll into Buckingham Palace, and there's me trying to walk straight into have a look at the crown jewels. I'm being a teeny weeny bit hypocritical, Roshane. You've got to. I know you weren't making that point, but I've just realised that would indeed be a fair point. At least we're going to get to enjoy the beautiful views up these glorious oak steps. The White Tower here, 1080, one of the very oldest buildings here at the Tower of London. 1080. I mean, just thinking about it, not long after so many other major historical events at the time. Extraordinary thing to think about. You go up the right side of the stairs as well with everybody else. It is, isn't it? It's wonderful. There's so much here that is spectacular. The troop gems, of course, are the things that we can't see, specifically the crown jewels, but we all know and understand why. One moment, everybody.
You knew when they were being rounded up, I think you knew something was up. So he stayed out of the way.
How long has that directive been in place?
Since at least last year. Yeah. So
I'm going to wait briefly and ask him if it's okay to film.
So normally their pens are just the front Oh, the older looking wood. Yeah.
Got quite a nice view there for you folks while we're waiting.
So they're fed it and they're kept on like
It is, yeah. I mean, if you think about 1080.
and they come out and they just
The mind boggles at thinking about what life would have been like at that moment here.
really strange.
In many respects, utterly grim, but also at the same time, not knowing what is coming in the immediate future and far beyond, centuries later.
I hope they lift it soon though. Yeah, it's just a question of waiting until they're happy with it. I don't think it's going to
Lots more ravens at the back here. In fact, the cages go back incredibly far. I didn't even notice how far back they go.
apart from Jubilee, at least we know his name now. Yeah, that's it. It's one of the smart. They're all quite smart, but he's one of the more clever.
Second, everybody. Sorry, can I trouble you with a question? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm assuming filming inside is not possible under any... Or is it okay to take
You can
pictures?
take photos in some filming, not kind of professional filming as such.
Oh, no, it's not. It's for personal use. It's for
Yeah.
YouTube.
You could, I mean, when you go, you'd need to ask when you go inside, because my colleagues are inside as well. So
Okay.
they may approach you if they see you putting it. Are you just going to be walking around with it?
Literally, I'm not even going to say anything. I just
Yeah,
want to
that's probably
capture.
fine.
Is
I
that
mean,
right?
If you set down the tripod, they'd probably challenge you.
Don't
inside.
worry, I'm going
Yeah.
to firmly hold it.
Just as that should
The
be
Beefeaters did already, and then obviously when I'm close to the crown jewels, they're like, no,
just
no,
very,
no,
They're
no.
very strict at the moment on things. But yeah, no, just general film and stuff is fine inside.
It's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, everybody, you heard it first. So general filming inside is fine. Let's see. Jewel Tower. Good Lord, it's very, very, very warm in here. Whew. It's like I just got off a plane in the Caribbean. $1080, and I walk around inside with a 4K camera and a TikTok live. Imagine 1080, everybody. I bet it's warmer in here right now than it is in Australia. It's at least high 20s in here right now. Oh, humidity is just boom the second you walk through the door. Extraordinary thing compared to outside. You think that's cool, everybody? Wait until you see what's on my right. And all of these are the originals. It's 12:13 here in London, almost 12:15, just after noon. Good heavens. Making me tingle looking at this, it really is. And the sheer amount of plate armour, all of which date from the King Henry VIII period. Extraordinary. Gosh, how humble do I feel right now? The wall of armour plating, everybody. Complete with somebody getting a nice photo in the middle. It's a great spot for a picture, isn't it?
He's been standing there waiting for you.
I wonder if his face had gotten stuck for a moment. Extraordinary.
But they were, yeah.
know, even for somebody that doesn't really give too much of a consideration for history, this is something else. That's the thing, I mean, you know, bearing in mind, you know, the medieval diet clearly wasn't, should we say, the most inspiring. The weight of the plating, plus the sword, the chainmail, etc., you couldn't even begin to imagine. You know, they're walking with something along the lines of between 20 and 50 kilos worth. Just, you know, how? You know, how these people were so incredibly strong and brave. That much weight, those conditions, knowing that if something went wrong, medical treatment was grim, to say the least. It is extraordinary, isn't it? Almost missed the other end of the armour wall. Full suit of armour, the weight, I would think well in excess of 60 kilos or so. I mean, including the boots, just how? When you think about it, especially if it's relatively warm, you're going to perspire somewhat. The moisture that would build up inside, I don't understand how it was possible. I really cannot even begin to imagine how it would be possible to march in something like this. Sitting on horseback? Yeah, but look at them all. Yeah, that's it. Flavor be boy. That's it. Yeah, you know, almost 950 years we're getting to. It's just extraordinary. Can't even begin to comprehend what life was like at that point in history. You know, we're talking many hundreds of years before even the Enlightenment and the Renaissance. 3/4 armour we have here. It's not entirely sure, but it says potentially for Edward VI, who was still a boy. It might look large, but it's boy-sized armour. Extraordinary. They would have at some point have had to come down from the horse and walk. They wouldn't have marched obviously over great distances, but could you imagine trying to take a few steps with something like that on, or coming off of the horse to try and enter combat? It's just extraordinary. You have to wonder, don't you, what will come next? 100 years from now, 200 years, 400 years from now. That one, in fact, massively reminds me of Shakespeare, curiously enough. Being very careful, because a lot of people are walking around with headsets on for the live translation. This glorious fellow up on the horse. Apologies for the reflections, folks. I'm trying to minimise the reflections as much as I can by making sure the light's in the right place, but we're going to get inevitable reflections because everything is, of course, safely encased behind very thick glass. It's interesting, actually, how the design of suits of armour improved over time. I guess they suddenly realised that, hold on a second, wearing everything right down to, including to the feet is a very bad idea. because moisture is going to collect in the helmet, and obviously that issue with with the feet, horseback or not. Goodness. Actually, it really does feel as though he's going to move. I'm not joking. It literally feels like he's getting ready to move. Honestly, that would scare the life out of me. There are plenty of yeomans here, so if anyone gets a little bit too touchy-feely with the display, I'm sure they'll mention it very quickly. Also, a couple of serving soldiers here. I'm not sure if they're giving a personal tour or with a family member. Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, we are unfortunate at the moment. This wall, at least, when the light is coming through, we're facing south, hence the reflection. It's going to get better in a moment. We're walking away from the last of the windows. Welcome, Patricia. And we have this rather unique set. Extraordinary. Lucky there, actually suddenly got very, very busy behind me. Let me see if I can have a quick look at the other wall, everybody. I didn't want to miss King Charles II. It's a spectacular mini suit of armour. Extraordinary. Look at this, everybody. A medieval instrument of torture. Collar of torment. Apparently it's a Spanish collar put around the necks of scolding or wayward wives. 16th century. Extraordinary. And terrifying at the same time. How ornate is that? Good heavens. This is where the tourist was cheekily poking his head through for that picture. Quite a unique picture. I can understand why he would have done it. I don't think anyone had a problem with it. He was just being a little light-hearted. But they've done a magnificent job, actually, of lining up and attaching the armour to the wall. Extraordinary, that wall of armour. Moving up to the next level now, everybody. Solid oak staircase. Wow. It's barely even creaking. It's so well constructed. It's with the pegging, etc. Look, incredible workmanship here. It's a different world. I did ask your colleagues downstairs. Thank you, thank you. Just double checking with the yeomans up here. Much larger cases. A lot of weaponry and other things up here. Equally extraordinary. I'm going to walk around and through the centre of the exhibition here. Good Lord. Let's go around. My pleasure. Thank you very much, Kathy, for the kind words. Grand medieval hall. I'm going to go into the chapel immediately. One moment. Actually, wait, no, we do have to go into the chapel to go out the other side. One moment. I'm not going to film, guys. I don't film religious buildings, as we know. Spectacular chapel, but yeah, I have I don't ever film religious buildings. I don't think it's appropriate. Okay, so we are in the mini exhibition. Medieval treasures, medieval weaponry, lances, pikes, staffs, etc. All superbly and wonderfully displayed. Staff weapons. Good Lord, I'm just thinking about actually holding that thing, the weight of it as well. This staff with the metal pike at the end. Terrifying. This is Elizabethan, incidentally, what we're looking at the moment. 16th century. Yeah, apologies. I know some of the religious buildings are glorious, but it's just something that it's not about a particular religion, it's just something I don't do out of respect. So many things here. What is this? It was a diplomatic gift. Good Lord. I wonder what they would have thought at the English court when a diplomat arrived and said, hey, look, this is what we have to present. Bearing in mind that at that point, it would have taken many, many months of travel to move from a certain part of the world to another. How careful must they have been on their voyages to protect those treasures so they made it intact? It is that the presentation here is one thing that really does massively impress me. Everything is super, super well presented, but more importantly, and I'm not showing them because you can't really read them, there are too many, every single thing has got very in-depth descriptions and explanations of what we're looking at and why it's here. And that for me really is what a fine museum should be about. Showing the treasures is one thing, but if we don't know why they're symbolic, it doesn't really help. Certain curators at other museums in London should take note. Muskets as well. Hans's art. Bejeweled weaponry here. Incredible.
Tiffany & Co. number 3 was. It's Tiffany & Co.
Voy a grabar fotos, pero no me voy a andar porque se me voy a aburrir a este personal. Llaman de todos. Es una maravilla. ¿Cómo se dice?
Some of the weapons, the golden pistol, gold-plated cased submachine gun. I was looking for the date. Extraordinary enough, the one down here, 19th century Germanic rifle. One of the first examples of a reloadable weapon. Good Lord. It's the Royal Armouries, if anyone's wondering. And it continues through another door into another treasure trove of medieval surprises. This time we're going up into the tower a little bit. You mustly, you know, I was guilty of the same thing until just a few years ago. Yeah, I only remember going once actually when I was a child on a school trip. I went again with my children. They loved it, so of course I've been back a few times. It's extraordinary to think of how far we've come since the things we've had a look at here in the tower. In some respects, anyway. Another absolutely vast room here. I have no idea if this was something that was ever deployed in battle, as it were, or is it simply a sculpture? What is weapons as wallpaper? Ah, okay, so there apparently is a tradition in British military history of creating trophies from masses of weapons, which would explain it. This is a trophy of captured weapons. Medieval sculptors have put this together. Extraordinary. 925 years before anyone had even heard of Game of Thrones. The chainmail as well, that's forming the tail from captured fellows. Wow, just wow. I think these are the more recognisable, in fact. Which century is this? One moment. It's saying on the labelling probably early 18th century. It's a drummer's raincoat. Marching in that with your drums in the rain. Again, super display of musketry. There's so much here. I mean, this is literally sort of a day's worth of. I mean, you know, I'm not looking or filming all of it. It just goes on. There's so much here. It's incredible. Plus, there are interactive displays, etc. People are sitting here listening in multiple different languages. I can understand why the Tower of London is a chargeable exhibit. I mean, goodness me, they've really done well here in every respect. It's immaculate as well. Everything is utterly immaculate. And people are very respectful here.
Well, let's go.
Cute. Honestly, Carly, I would definitely suggest going probably around the time that I arrived. I think I got here around 10 this morning. Again, it's massively weather dependent. Of course, if it's a nicer day, it's going to be very, very, very busy. I did notice last night, actually, they've even got Dyson fans here. The irony of that, eh? Dyson fan in an 11th century castle. Yeah, I would say probably to arrive around 10 a.m. When I arrived, actually, the queue, the ticket office is sort of a little set back from the main entrance, but there was already a huge queue of people, as there are only two chaps checking the tickets. So it took me 6 or 7 minutes, I would say, to get in. But there were already a vast number of people that were in front of me. So I would definitely, to be honest, arrive no later than around 10:30 in an ideal world. I'm already thinking about how many people there are going to be outside in a moment when we get downstairs. Let's see. A little stroll around the inner courtyard again. This walk down is a terror. The tripod. So many chambers and wooden doorways, arrow slips and so on. There's so much to look at, it's hard to focus on actually stepping down. This sort of thing, look. Yeah, I wouldn't like to be doing this on a super busy day. It's a little litigious. Oh, just when you think you've reached ground level, it continues. After the humidity in here, I can know the cold air is going to be whoosh. It's going to feel like I've just gotten off a plane at the South Pole. Here we are in another grand hall. Full of cannon, some extraordinary cannon here, and artillery. Plenty of curiosities. In fact, they even labelled it Tower Curiosities. Thank you for the little chow. It looks like a chow, that dog. Hey, welcome if you're joining, or if you're joining from Mexico. Yes, indeed, we are at the Tower of London, exploring the many extraordinary things here in the armoury. Muskets, cannons, treasures and curiosities. Look at it all, how much of it there is. We all know that Britain has a somewhat glorious and curious military past in the past 1,000 years, but actually seeing it this closely, smell it almost, smell the musketry. Also, curiously, some of the... I already spoke to your colleagues when I came in. I asked them before I came in. I asked permission. The man at the main door, and then again when I came in the secondary door.
Do you work here, sir?
No, I don't. I asked them already, so twice. I wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't asked. This is me, and this is what I'm doing it for.
Okay, do you mind just pausing that, sir?
No, of course. No, of course.
Just bear with me.
No, of course. Hello, everybody. The first chap on the main door with the grey hair, when I came in, said, was it okay to have the camera on and to record, showed him what I was doing. Then also the two ladies on the floor before this, they also...
It's because it's just professional cameras and...
He said it's okay as long as you don't put it down and put the tripod on the floor, as long as it's only for personal use, which it is. It's not for anything commercial.
Okay, right. Just bear
Of course,
with me.
no, absolutely. I'll stay here, of course. Okay, just going to let the lady go and check. You all heard I double-checked twice as I came in that it was okay to film and was granted permission twice. Let's see what she has to say. I'm going to stay here as she asked before she makes a firm decision. No, I'm still here, everybody. I'd already asked twice before entering, and also again once I'd entered, if it was okay to be filming, and I was told twice, and it was, we know that because you guys are watching, and it was captured on the live and also here on the YouTube recording. Twice I received verbal permission for filming, so let's see. Hopefully it's just a confusion, but we'll find out in a moment. I'm happy to respect the rules, but I specifically did ask him before coming in. He was very clear in the sense that as long as it's for personal use and you don't put the tripod on the floor, which I haven't done, there shouldn't be an issue. So I'll wait here for a minute or two until she comes back out of this door to speak to somebody. But It might be because I have cables dangling down, power cables, I don't know, but let's see what she says. Yeah, we're going to stay in this one room, we're not going to go anywhere else until she comes back. Hopefully she'll come back. I mean, she's going to leave me here now. She's like, I'm going to leave it on though, actually, just in case I do get into any kind of trouble, because this is, you know, a video proof of me having been very respectful and politely requested the option to film here for you guys. Let's see. Plus, we walked past multiple people who were absolutely fine, even said hello, including serving military personnel. So I would have thought there was a problem. Picture taking is definitely fine. Everyone's got the cameras out, but it might just be the fact that she's wondering if it's commercial or not. Okay, so it's 12:40. I'm going to wait here for 5 minutes, and I'm going to continue on if she doesn't come back. Yeah, I'm sort of 50-50 actually. I hope she comes back, even if it's just to say, look, it's okay. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to upset anyone or break the rules. So let's see what she has to say. I hope so, Melissa. I genuinely do hope so. Even if you know, it doesn't matter to me whether she's right or wrong. I will happily apologise if I've done something wrong. But if I've been misinformed by her colleagues, it's at least a 50-50 split in terms of who's responsible for the misunderstanding. Yeah, it's you know, it's not commercial. Right, actually, I need to plug the other camera. I've just noticed actually the other cameras, YouTube camera, is getting very close to running out of juice. Let me plug that in. 1 second, everybody. Very good otherwise with the power supplies here today. Let's see. Okay, 12:42. Been here for 4 minutes so far, and she hasn't come back. Actually, wait, this one's curious. This is what I was going to show you guys next. A sort of exploded cannon. Yeah, it's just true actually. I knew somebody was going to write that off with his head. Traitor's Gate for me, hey everybody. I'm going to be the first person since those First World War traitors who's going to be condemned for misbehaving. You would think so, yeah, but you know, more importantly. So she's coming back, everybody. 1 second. I'm going to point the camera away from her. 1 second.
My supervisors,
Is it all right?
yeah, because it's live, that's the thing.
Oh, I
This is
see.
different. Live is a problem, completely different.
Okay.
But yeah, it's absolutely fine. I just need to double check.
Thank you. You really scared me. I was reading about the fact that the last people that were executed were in the First World War and in prison, and I was thinking to myself, hold on a second, I'm not going to make live history.
No, not at all, sir. I just need to be confirmed with my boss.
You're lovely.
But
Thank you so much.
Have a lovely day.
You too. My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Yeah, I was briefly thinking I could be the next one there, heading to Traitor's Gate. I think it's because the head Beefeater, when we first arrived, he did pretty much thoroughly question me, as any of you watching at the beginning will remember, and explained, you know, that everyone that's working here is ex-military in some way or another. I showed him why I was here. He seemed relatively okay. So, that was a briefly heart-stopping moment there, actually. But it's good. You know, it shows that people are paying attention, that they're doing the job, and that they're making sure that the place is secure. I can't fault her for that. Massive respect for coming back and admitting that, you know, she made a mistake. Incredible. She was absolutely lovely, actually. Yeah, very, very nice. Very nice indeed. If I hadn't have asked permission when I came with everybody, I would have been terrified at that moment. Literally, I would have been shaking. I'm thinking, good Lord, I'm really in trouble now. Okay, we continue. Yet more treasures. Goodness me, I'm noticing actually the live is somewhat dying a teeny bit. I think it's a reception in here, everyone. One second, everybody. The reception, I'm going to go through here very quickly. The reception in this room is dreadful. Let me come back out so the reception will resume, hopefully. I'm not sure if did I lose you there, folks? Is it still okay? I'm going to go back up the stairs, that last room completely lost it, and it mentioned resuming the live. So are we alright, everybody? Did it come back on? We should be fine. I'm back at ground level. Oh, definitely very, very briefly lost the live there, everyone. We should be fine now. I'm back out at ground level. How's it looking? We're back. Okay. That was incredibly lucky, wasn't it? I mean, literally, every single part of the museum there was fine. But that very last room, luckily it was only the gift shop, the reception went. So I'm very happy that worked out exceptionally well. And I'm very glad that the reception didn't go and we didn't lose it when we were talking to the lovely guardian there. Okay, anyway, so we're back out, kind of where we started again. As you all know, I did ask earlier if it were possible, and not only can you not film inside, you can't even take a picture inside where the crown jewels are located. I understand why and I respect that. So far so good. Welcome everybody. Yeah, me too. That was my favourite. I was really kind of enchanted by what we saw. So we're back out in the courtyard here. I'm going to go over and have a little listen in on the Beefeater's tour. With a splendid Beefeater over here with an enormous beard. That's one I haven't seen before actually, he's new to me. Size of the queue already, well, it's not a queue, sorry, the crowd, everybody, look, listening to him. And make sure we've got the sun on the right side.
Criteria 1. You have to have a magnificent beard. 2. You have to be extremely handsome. And 3. You have to be at least 6 foot tall. Okay, they're the wrong things, obviously. 1. You have to have served in His Majesty's Armed Forces for at least 22 years. That is either the Royal Navy, Royal Marines.
One moment, everybody. Curious thing here with the battery. One moment. Let me just plop this down so we can still watch. I just need to check what's going on with the power supply here. Low battery, but good lord, it's plugged in. One moment, everybody.
Honourable service, but we like to say 15 years of not getting caught for any crime. If you're fortunate enough to get chosen, you get to become a Yeoman order. It's better than that. You get to wear this magnificent uniform.
Plenty of power, but no charge. How curious. One moment.
And it's certainly not a costume beyond not actors.
I'm not sure yet. I'll go back closer in a minute. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here battery-wise and why we're not recharging.
The royal cipher of our dearly departed Queen Elizabeth II. And yes, it will be getting the Queen's crown, Elizabeth Conga Regina, Queen Elizabeth II. Now the new royal cipher is in the public domain, folks. Okay, go online and you can see it. King's crown, Robert Ferguson Brett. Okay, that's what it's
No, it seems to be fine. One moment. Let's go and watch him and see what he's speaking about here to the very large crowd. You can ask any questions, Melissa, of course. That's why we're here.
We're just stuck. Nobody really knows where it comes from. There are lots of different theories, lots of different reasons why people think we call Beefeaters. Nobody actually knows for sure. Oh. Okay, one reason is, when we were first formed, we were the personal bodyguard to the king, okay? Henry VII, the first Tudor king. Now, in able to protect him, he wanted to keep us fit, strong and healthy, so he gave us a daily ration of meat. Meat back then was extremely expensive, usually just for the royalty and nobility.
Ah.
Very privileged in getting part paid in that manner. So people outside of the tower who didn't have access to good food like that used to start calling us Beefeaters. Okay? That's one reason. There are lots and lots of other reasons. Okay? Our official title is this. Are you ready for this? If anybody gets it wrong, going back to the start. Okay? Our official title is this. Yeoman Warder of His Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress, the Tower of London, Sovereign's Bodyguard, Yeoman of the Guard and Extraordinary. Got it? Of course, Beefeater is easier. Right, folks, almost brings me to the end. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a bit of the history of this magnificent Royal Palace and Fortress. Before I send you on your way to the Crown Jewels, and you all know where they are, don't you? I'd like to thank each and every one of you today for doing your part. You folks coming to see us, okay, help us keep the tower in the great condition it's in. That building alone has been standing for nearly 1,000 years. We'd love it to stand for 1,000 years longer, so truly, folks, thank you for visiting today. Now, if you do have any burning questions, I'm going to be stood over there for a nanosecond after the tour, okay? Or you could ask any one of my colleagues around the tower. If you like a photograph of me, and why wouldn't you? Also, over there, folks. Now, if you enjoyed the tour, please feel free to cheer and clap.
Hey! Wow. Second, let me see if I can get him in his full glory. Spectacular Beefeater's costume, uniform. Try and get a picture of him too, if possible. Look at that, isn't it wonderful? Look.
The one I pointed to about the
Where's the other girls?
Where's Crown Prince? Come over here and I'll show you. Come over here, I'll show you. Come over, I'll show you. Who wants to know where the Crown Jewels are? No? Oh, well, not anymore?
That was really excellent. I did wonder if you were an actor.
One second, I'm going to wait until the young man moves out of the way. What a magnificent uniform. I don't think it's ever going to happen, folks. The second I try and take a picture.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Is it okay? Thank you so much. You got a good spot here in the sunshine. It's enhancing that handsome face. Not that you need it. Thank you very much. Okay, got a super clear picture there, everyone. 1 second, I'll pop that on the Instagram. Notice there are lots of Beefeaters, and we've got a lot of RAF personnel here today, actually. Lots. I'm not sure. Perhaps it's a special day. I'm seeing lots of active RAF personnel. I think with their families. Walking around. There were only a couple before, but I'm seeing them everywhere now, so I'm guessing it must be something in particular. Try not to be too close. Yeah, look, this chap with the sash here. He's a currently serving member of the Royal Air Force. I'm not sure what the sash signifies. I'm not a military man. I'm going to pop that picture of that glorious Beefeater. Actually, the crowd around him is massive now. Just got it in time. 1 second, then we'll continue around everybody. Let me pop that picture onto the Instagram. He does look absolutely splendid in the sunshine. What a glorious fellow. That's it, I've just popped the picture of the Beefeater. The Beefeater, he was explaining it actually. It's a very good question. Sorry everybody, I'm sort of blabbering on here without giving a thorough explanation. He was explaining that the reason that these chaps, okay, so these are the guardians of the Tower of London, okay? This chap over here. I'm not going to get too close, people are taking pictures with their children and stuff. Anyway, so this chap over here is a Beefeater. And you notice the difference in what he's wearing, for example. So the other guys are the Yeoman warders that are walking around, and obviously we have a lot of soldiers here as well. Beefeaters so called because, as he was explaining there in his little narrated tour, apparently in the medieval period only royals and nobility would eat meat as part of their diet traditionally. meat was relatively rare and certainly very expensive for obvious reasons. However, certain elite parts of the military were also then given meat as part of their rations. And those guys were then affectionately termed Beefeaters. And the name was born. That apparently is the legend. That is as he told it. But yeah, it's getting very, very busy here now. It's starting to bustle, actually. There's still plenty of room to walk around, but it's bustling enormously. Let's go over toward the southern side. It is a little bright, but I'll be cautious, because obviously we have some spectacular views, not only of the tower here and the Jewel Tower, but Tower Bridge itself. Despite the sunshine, it's still a glorious perspective from the Tower of London here. Magnificent. It doesn't matter where you look here, all of it is just extraordinary. I'm pretty much certain they're manually watering that grass every single day to get it that perfectly green and tame. Just going to ask actually this chap here what the difference is in their uniforms. One moment, just out of curiosity for my own purposes. Can I ask you a question? Yeah. I've noticed there's a small difference between what you're wearing and the other chap over here, or are you wearing the same but underneath the tunic? Oh, so the uniform's identical?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I did wonder, yeah, because his is like, wow.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Just a warm coat.
What about in the summer? Do you wear the same thing underneath? Obviously without the cloak, but how? I mean, when it's 30 degrees, how is that? I mean,
that's all right. Because this one's slightly thicker because it's the winter one.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you get summer one that's lighter weight.
That's it though. Scottish accent, I guess, a teeny bit, so you're used to the cold.
Not really. I wish I was, but not.
Thank you very much.
You have to go that way.
This way? Oh yes, you're right. Thank you. Oops, sorry, little man. Okay, everybody. Okay, let's continue out. So actually, no, they are wearing exactly the same. One moment, everyone. Let's get back through this glorious medieval gate. Apologies to anyone that's asking questions and I'm not seeing them. Obviously I'm trying to be respectful of the environment, not bump into other tourists, and obviously talking to some of the staff here. Don't worry, AJ, we're definitely going to go back and look again at Traitor's Gate. We're very close to Traitor's Gate now. Mentioning about the number of people and so on a very busy day, obviously we have very narrow passages and stone stairways. On a very busy day it would take an awful long time to get around and see everything. Plus, if you're tall like me, you need to be very careful of the beams above the doorways. You see how narrow the passages are? It's literally sort of tripod width. Good lord. Traitor's Gate is where prisoners would be brought by boat to be imprisoned and or executed here at the Tower of London. Good heavens, this staircase is it's not for the faint of heart, everybody. I'm honestly being serious. Oh my goodness me. Apologies if you can't really see very much at the moment. I'm trying not to fall down. Good heavens. Goodness me, wow. That was... Look. Oh. That was incredible. Second, everybody. I think we're just about to catch a changing of the guard. Second. Lovely timing here, actually. Lovely timing.
I don't look at this way.
Trees! Pass!
And there it is, folks, the change of the guard. What luck. We caught that just at the right moment, actually. Extraordinary. I didn't forget about Trader's Gate again. We did look at Trader's Gate a couple of times when I came in, but we will go and have a very good look at Trader's Gate again. Obviously, catching the change of the guard at that moment was very much unexpected. I wasn't keeping an eye on the time, so we just caught it at 1 p.m. That was a minor miracle, everybody. Very happy that I got that. A few times when I've been here before, I've missed it. My pleasure. Thank you very much. It's a good question. I think when I was reading earlier, I thought it was every 2 hours. Every 2 hours or every 4 hours, one or the other. So we would have had an awful long wait for the next one, either way. So that was very lucky, actually. Very lucky. Again, if they're changing the guard, again, welcome to Google. I'm pretty sure from memory it's every 2 hours or every 4. One or the other. Every 2 or every 4. Crown Jewels, you are not allowed. I did, again, everyone that was watching on live, I did ask. You're not allowed to film and you're not even allowed to take a picture. If you even take your camera out or take a picture, you get immediately not only thrown out of the Crown Jewels, but banned from the Tower of London. Yes, indeed, it is, Lee. Yep, they are all RAF serving personnel. I did wonder, in fact, there are an awful lot of RAF personnel here today as well that are not part of the guard. They're just here, either with tourists or with family members. So I'm not sure if today's a special occasion, but I've never seen this many RAF personnel just milling around and talking with people, etc. Plus, there were a lot of RAF guys walking around in the museum. The Armoury, with what seemed to be, to my eye, their family. Okay, this Beefeater, goodness God, he must have an incredibly strong voice box. Here he goes, look, he's back again with another enormous group, starting another another very, very long discussion about what's happening. Look, he literally just finished. It's a good question, Lee. Actually, I don't know. It's a very good question. I would have thought that they probably would rotate. I haven't been here regularly enough to know, is the honest answer. I'd be very much surprised if it was exclusively RAF. But yeah, for the moment, it's definitely RAF. Good question. Yeah, I'm not a military man. I couldn't comment on why they're wearing certain outfits or not wearing other outfits. I'm just thinking, actually, let's go back around the tower. That way we avoid the narrow staircase again. I don't want to have to do that again. It was, I haven't got huge feet, but my God, I was just able to get a grip on that little tower back there. I was very much concerned that I was going to drop everything. There's no way a large person, I mean, I'm just over 6'2", there's no way somebody any taller than me would even get in there. It's ridiculous. But then again, we all know that 945 odd years ago, people were somewhat shorter, generally speaking, than they are now, so no great surprise. This is where we came out. This is the Armoury. It's the exit of the Armoury. Having spent, I think we were in there for about 30-40 minutes. This is where the lady said to me, "Hey, you're in trouble." Yeah, those stairs, good Lord. If on a wet day, for example, people walking up and down or inside with wet shoes, that would be an absolute trap and a half. Good Lord. Yeah, thank goodness it's a nice springy day. Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I can't think of anywhere better to just sit and enjoy it. I mean, look, there are so many. It's a glorious place to spend time with loved ones or with children. Hey, to be honest, I would say that's a massive asset, Lee, coming here. I definitely would, without a doubt. I noticed, actually, curiously, most of the Beefeaters seem to be around the sort of 5'7", 5'9" height range, which is a bit surprising, actually, for military men. I don't know if there's a current minimum height requirement for the military like there is for the police. If there is, I don't know what it is. But yeah, compared to, for example, when you're at Buckingham Palace, the King's Guard, good Lord, they are strapping chaps. Welcome, Keir. We're at the Tower of London here. That's the view in front directly of Tower Bridge. Again, I'm trying to be careful with the sunlight, so we're going to get massive light pollution, because this is the biggest problem actually with being out on a sunny morning. Let's go and have a look at those ravens again. They've been cut back through. Wait, no, we can't go that way. Wait. That's going to take us straight back into the tower. No, we don't want to go that way. Let's go this way. We'll have a look at the ravens, and then we'll have another good look at Traitor's Gate. Okay, that light should hopefully stop in a minute, polluting the picture. Yeah, plenty of seating. I mean, everywhere. They're very thoughtful here. seating everywhere, enough to accommodate hundreds of people. Benches all over the place, benches and tables and areas for groups. Lovely. In other words, compared to Buckingham Palace, the facilities here are absolutely VIP. I'm not exaggerating. Let's go back and have a look at Traitor's Gate, everybody. A shard there, in fact, peeking above the battlements. Cradle Tower. I'm not sure why, but there is a polar bear up here. In fact, I saw it on the way and I have no idea why it's there. Beautiful lighting there, beautiful. Getting a bit of jiggery on the camera here just because of the power cable. We're at the Tower of London, everybody. The camera's trying to follow it around, but one second, there we are. Buckingham Palace, 2 hours duty, 4 hours off. I'm pretty sure when I googled it yesterday, I swear it's only about 4 hours. But they rotate every 4 hours. I might be wrong. I don't know why this curious chainmail polar bear is here. Oh, okay, so apparently Henry III, according to this, Henry III received a polar bear from the King of Norway and an elephant from the King of France in the 13th century gifts. Exotic creatures, I guess. I mean, you can't even begin to imagine what... it is 2 hours. Thank you very much, Kib. It makes sense. I mean, good lord. I was talking very briefly there with the Scottish Beefeater, who showed me under his overcoat that he had exactly the same tunic on as the chap giving the talk. And I said to him, like, what is it like in the summer? He didn't actually say anything, but I could see the expression on his face. It was like, yeah, I mean, exceedingly heavy tunic. God knows how they cope with that kind of heat in the summer, to be honest. Not just the weight aspect, but the fact that it would be virtually impossible to keep your core body temperature at a reasonable level. Okay, just on the left here, everyone. Again, that's the main entrance just up in front. This is where everyone comes in when you first arrive, etc. The ticket office is just beyond. And here to my left now is the infamous Traitor's Gate. That's it. And there's exceedingly ominous stone steps actually right here. Just think about that experience. You've done something naughty, you've been caught, whether it's something relatively minor or indeed a little bit more serious, treason, etc. Imagine what it would have felt like to be on a boat coming along the Thames. All you can see is, just dirt, mud, wooden houses and shacks everywhere. Smoke billowing out of the chimneys, especially if it's in the winter. Or you've got a couple of guards and the boatman knowing that you were coming here to this gate. And then that's pretty much it. As far as I'm aware, anyone brought through the gate, that was pretty much it. I don't know if there are examples of people who came through the gate and were later released. I don't know that, but my money would be on the fact that the vast majority, if not every single person that came through these gates, never left the tower again. Yeah, what an extraordinary thing to think about, isn't it? Incredibly grim at the same time. You're on the boat, you're completely helpless. You know that's it, fundamentally. But at the same time, Just what would have been going through their minds? How would somebody think? The thought processes of a simple person, which I'm guessing a lot of prisoners would have been in 11th century England. Just conjecture doesn't even get there, does it? It's just extraordinary. Yeah, extraordinary. In terms of the ticket pricing, I don't know. I think Leanne mentioned earlier, one of the mods mentioned earlier, everybody, that it was something around 20, 25, 29, something like that. I don't know how much the ticket cost. I have this sort of thing called like a historic royal palaces. It's an annual subscription thing. Obviously, I go to these sort of places quite a lot. So I don't know, because when you have historic royal palaces membership, anyone can get it. It's nothing exclusive. Anyone can go to the website and join. You get access to Hampton Court. I can't remember actually. Kensington Palace, Hampton Court, Tower of London. I'm not sure if Blenheim. I don't remember actually. So definitely Hampton Court, definitely Kensington Palace, definitely Tower of London. I'm not sure if Blenheim is included. And it gives you discounts to other things, the shops, for example, and the restaurants here, and discounted entry to Kew Gardens, etc., etc. So I don't honestly remember how much the individual ticket prices are. It probably isn't cheap. It's London, and what is cheap fundamentally? If it's not free, it's definitely not cheap. Tower of London. Anyone just joining? Yeah, Tower of London. Okay, so the gate. Let me elaborate a little bit on the gate. Anybody that was convicted of a very serious offence, okay, in medieval England, going back to the 11th century now, they would be brought along the river on a boat, and they would enter into the Tower of London to be imprisoned and in all likelihood later executed through this gate. Okay, those wooden longboats would travel along the Thames from wherever they would have picked up the prisoners, etc., City of London, whatever, and those boats entered here. Okay, it doesn't look like it at the moment because the tide is out. The tide of the Thames is out. This way, at the moment, we can see the riverbed. But those boats entered through this gate, and the traitors, indeedly, the most famous gate in London. Those traitors, those condemned, those wretched fellows, as they would have been regarded in the 11th century, would be forcibly disembarked, most likely in chains or in custody, and marched up these stone steps here. Marched up these steps and imprisoned in the tower. Imprisoned in these freezing cold stone towers. I mean, you can't even begin to imagine, can you? Obviously, those parts of areas are off limits. I dare say that some of the places, some of the lower levels, the prisons, the very ominous parts of the Tower of London, have probably not been explored in recent times. To be fair, I'm sure there are some very gory things, including medieval instruments of torture and so on. Just places like this. Who knows what's in there? What would have happened in a place like that? Okay, I can see down there. It looks very, very grim. That would have been your view of the world, potentially, as a prisoner here at the Tower of London. In other words, nothing. You could perhaps barely see the sky. But when you think about it, what a terrifying thought, eh? And here, the aptly named, obviously. Second, everybody. This jiggy with the camera and the cable is just ridiculous this morning. Apologies. Aptly named 1225, 13th century bloody tower. Okay. I'm not going to tempt fate by standing directly under this iron gate because you never know. Okay, if we watch movies like Final Destination, freaky things happen occasionally at unexpected moments. I'm definitely not going to stand directly underneath it. But yeah, look at that. I'm close to standing directly underneath it if it falls for any reason. This was a great live. I think it probably was a cell. I don't know 100%, but it certainly looks like it. It looks very ominous. Just like this extraordinarily large iron gate. They've actually attached it very, very well, I guess for health and safety reasons. They've put two enormous oak beams, one there and another one here. I don't know how long they've been there. Let me go on to it very quickly. Imagine if it fell on me during the live, everyone. 1 second. get out of the sun here. 1 second, that sun is blinding me. There we are, that's better. I'm now firmly inside. Yeah, through the bloody gate here, marched into the tower, and that was it. And my pleasure. It was a lot of fun here at the Tower of London. It's extraordinary place. I mean, utterly extraordinary. This side, in fact, the ceiling here is called the vault, and it was added much later, 1360, 1362, mid-14th century vaulted ceiling. Obviously, you know, I'm guessing the stonemasons weren't quite as accomplished when the when the tower was originally built, almost 300 years earlier. So this vaulted ceiling was an addition, which is incredible if you think about it. You know, the ceiling alone is the best part of 700 odd years old, yet it's relatively new compared to the rest of the tower, which was built a lot earlier. Sorry, the camera's jigging a little bit. Okay, got a good spot here. 1 second. Let's sit and leave this focused on the sunshine, then I can answer any questions. 1 second, everybody. Let me grab a seat. It's a beautiful view actually as well over the tower here in the middle. Isn't that spectacular? What I'm going to do, anybody that's watching on YouTube, I hope you enjoyed that that tour and the slightly dramatic moment when I had to explain why I was filming what I was doing there. That was most unexpected, but in the best intentioned way. And the lady handled it exceedingly professionally, and that was a pleasure. But thank you to everyone that was watching on YouTube, and I hope you enjoyed this roughly 2 hours or so narrated tour here at the Tower of London. Thank you for watching.